Here we go.
Shake your head, rock your head. Just do it. Do it, people. Just rock it.
Yeah, you might want to cut that off because I don't think I have royalties for that one.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
You sure?
Yes. Yes. If something happens, I'll just hightail it out somewhere and hide out until it's paid. Hey.
So, translation, send you the bill. Gotcha.
You can send it to John Doe at address unknown.
Fair. Good evening out there, internet. How is everyone doing? Mayflower, good to see you. Glad you made it. Hope that chemistry homework wasn't too bad.
Chemistry. Okay. Yeah. Well, it depends on what it is. So.
True. Alrighty. Wow. Episode 102 of Scuba and The Ry. Tuesday night shenanigans with me, Scuba, and of course my co-host and companion, Ry.
Right here, people. Ry Guy. In your face on a camera.
Yep. So tonight we got a couple things to chit-chat about, as always. Sorry about last week. Last week was kind of a crazy week. So, but you know, we're gonna keep on keeping on, you know?
Keep rolling on to a new day.
Oh yeah, so before we get too far into that, let's do a couple of quick shout outs and, you know, do all those things, give the proper respect and appreciation where it belongs. Number one being to all of you who are watching us here live, or if you watch this later as a VOD, thank you very much. You're very awesome and amazing.
Thank you.
Be sure, and if you're new here, to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and of course hit that bell so you can be notified when future videos come out.
Ding.
There are videos on the way. I know I keep saying that, but it is not an empty promise. More stuff will come.
More shall come, people. Just wait.
Do a shout out and a thank you to Sirenscape. Go check out Sirenscape.com. They do a whole variety of soundboards and background music so you can use for your tabletop experience. All kinds of really cool and unique sounds. You know, from, you know, people laughing, people gasping, casting spells. Or, you know, just the sad trombone.
So sad.
Yes. But
So sad.
it's all good. So we're doing the things. So check them out. Go to Sirenscape.com. Check out the soundboards and their online player, and to take your tabletop experience to the next level. Shout out to the mods in the chat. Thank you very much for hanging out.
Thank you.
And of course, let's get to it. So tonight we're gonna chat about the movie Malignant, and probably touch on a couple other movies Ry watched in between since our last episode, but kind of high level stuff. We may chat about that for the after show. That's right, there is an after show. If you are a member of our Patreon, that's patreon.com/Scuba Studio. We do an after show at live streams directly for Patreon members. So if you want to support the studio via Patreon, go check it out. Be a part of that for that conversation. That's an Ask Anything where we'll answer questions and whatnot, as well as chit chat about some of the stuff that I'm kind of working on, or just continue the conversations we're having here. But yeah, 102 episodes so far, man. How do you feel about that?
That's just a lot of episodes, a lot of talking, but you know, it's a journey, and the journey keeps chugging along. But
it does keep chugging along, and you know, a lot of things change. Like, I have to say, I picked up a special edition. I pre-ordered my copy of Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West.
Yes, you did.
And I remember back at my birthday, you got me a pop, and you said, and I had said I will not buy any pops.
It just takes one. That's what I said. It just takes one.
I bought one.
Dun dun dun. Look at that, people. Look at that.
I bought one. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist.
Yeah, that resistance starts to fade when you think about all the different ones that are out there. And
No. See, I'm good. I've got my Thunderjaw. I'm good.
You're good until you see that next one. And then you see that next one. Like me. I always think I'm good. Then I saw T'Challa Star-Lord.
Well, we'll see. This past weekend was Gen Con, so hopefully y'all been able to check some of that crazy goodness out.
Check it out.
I think PAX Unplugged is coming up. I actually want to check and see are the PAX tickets available yet.
Is this the one that's up in Philly?
Up in Philly. Registration soon.
Gotta think about that one.
I would like to go. I really would like to go, but we shall see.
I'll have to
keep checking out, see if we can get some tickets to that.
think about it.
Yep. So, Ry, what you been up to the last couple of weeks, man?
Last couple of weeks, other than, grad school work, that's a lot of reading, a lot of thinking, contemplating, whatnot. It is, of course, focused in college comp. So learning the ins and outs of writing theory and developing voice, as well as how to plan out your class for college comp. So that's definitely interesting. On the fun side, last weekend, there was a Cider Fest going down at Farmhouse. So the Cider Fest, what they had is like all the different cider makers in the state. They come down there and you go ahead and you try their ciders, which was really good. And then they gave you a ticket where you can actually get a sip of whatever you want. There was one cider there that did intrigue me, where they had it infused with is it cayenne pepper? No, jalapenos. Either jalapenos or cayenne pepper. It was very different.
I would say so. That
Yes.
seems really kind of out there to have like cayenne pepper and cider.
Yeah, it is. Like you had the cider and the hot kicked in after. So it's one of those like after effects on a drink. That was a very interesting one, but that wasn't the one where I used my ticket on. But it's a good way to try out the different tastes and varieties, so you have an idea of what's out there. But that was fun. Other than that, I've just been busy with school, gaming, mostly one game, which we'll go into later. And other than that, I did finish up another chapter in my story that I was writing. So that's a plus.
I've got some chapters I got to start writing because got that new game coming.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming in a session 0. It's got a tentative date. I don't want to say anything until I got confirmation from my players.
Confirm so we can get it going.
But yeah, it's gonna the Feywild Venture is coming. Starting to work on the preliminary story. I've got some ideas, some characters to come back and visit, and some ideas for the character creation for the players. So that'll be coming. But last couple weeks for me has been a bit busy. It's always kind of busy between work stuff, studio stuff. The shop is actually in a much usable configuration now. So working forward on that. I'm working on a small little project. I haven't videoed much of it. Is I'm making a holder for some grease guns so that they're in a place that doesn't make a big mess. But all my tools are working. So yes, last night it was really cool. I could actually work from tool to tool to tool, and it just had a good feeling.
That's good.
The TV with the YouTube playing in the background because my YouTube feed is like a year old, and I've got a lot of videos to go through to catch up.
Yeah, we gotta definitely catch up on that, but time permits.
But it's all good. So yeah, we're getting there. I was trying to figure out how to film because it's like I want to use my phone to listen to audiobooks, but I also want to film with it. So it's like, oh man, how am I gonna?
Multitasking can get, in that way, multitasking can probably become burdensome.
It can get a little rough. But that's okay.
It's okay. You'll figure out a way. There is a way, people. Always a way.
I have been going through a bunch of books. I have gone through virtually all of the original Timothy Zahn Star Wars books. There's just one left, Outbound Flight. There's the original Thrawn trilogy, and then there was the Hand of Thrawn two-part series, and now there's Outbound Flight for all the classic, and then his new stuff. But I love it. I really appreciate the original Thrawn description and how fun it was to see him as a character in the novels.
Oh yeah, that's a very there's a lot of the popular ones in the Legends collection.
It is. It's definitely some essential Star Wars lore, Star Wars legend stuff. I just haven't I haven't watched TV because I've been listening to audiobooks. So yeah, go check out audible.com. They don't tell me to say anything, but I've been using that for years and gotta say it is so much fun to have. So
A lot of stuff to listen to.
yes. But then it was a couple of social things like it was Mayflower's birthday party this past weekend, so went over there to celebrate and show support for that. That was a lot of fun. I have to say I think she was quite surprised with the gift I gave her. And it seemed to open up a lot of other doors for some opportunities because apparently I got her a gift card for the local game shop.
Okay.
Apparently her and her parents had never heard of the local game shop.
Okay. All right. I'm following.
So now I'm kind of in a patient, panicked anticipation. And the reason I say that is I know what this store is like, and I know that they are big. They like board games and some of the stuff. And
Okay.
Mayflower and her brother are into geeky things, and it feels good to kind of show a newer generation the goodness that is the local game shop. And the reason why I'm in that panicked anticipation is waiting for them to see it and then come back and be like, Steve, we're going to kill you now. How dare you do this? Why? We were happy of not knowing of this place. Now that we know this place, this is not good.
Yeah.
This is not good.
Well, sometimes when you find out something exists and you are very into that world, it just makes you go, oh.
Well, the thing is, her brother's into trading card games. And it just so happened when I was there picking up her gift, they were doing a blind draw for the latest release for Magic the Gathering.
Well,
So in the back, they were running a tournament.
Well,
It's like,
it's all a choice.
It's okay. Got a couple of things to go pick up, like my new copy, my hardbound copy of Beyond the Witchlight, which just released. I've been reading the digital version this morning. Haven't had a chance to look at it since this morning because I've been busy with meetings and appointments and stuff. But yeah, they've got some great new things for Dungeon Masters in the new Beyond the Witchlight, as well as the story hooks are really fun. And I'm curious to see how my players will handle that as we get ready for the Feywild Venture.
I think it's going to be interesting.
I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think this is going to be a new game. It's going to be a new kind of game. I'm definitely feeling revitalized and energized to play around with it, as well as get back into some community dungeon mastering that I haven't been doing a whole lot of. Yes, I'm a slacker. Y'all can criticize me all you want. But, every so often, we get a little burned out and we have to kind of take a step back.
Always, burnout is real. So if you are able to step back from it taking over, it's always a good time to recharge and try again.
Yeah, I was reading the story hooks this morning, and I've got a really good story hook in mind using NPCs that I've introduced in other games and kind of modifying the story hooks to kind of make it my own. So I'm really kind of looking forward to it. Oh yeah, she was so nerding out when I was telling her, because I was also telling her because this weekend, it just so happens that her and her brother's birthday falls around the same weekend Gen Con goes on.
Okay.
And it's like, if I had gone out to Gen Con, I had a different plan in mind. But I think now we talked about, once they get done with high school, maybe then taking them over to experience Gen Con and see the shenanigans that can ensue at Gen Con.
Hey, things happen, so.
So, yeah. Yep, Mayflower is going to be on our cast for Feywild, so. She's been so patient, wanting to get back into the games. Now she can get back in.
There you go.
It's all good. It is all good. But all right, so yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing. Shop stuff, cleaning up, doing some things around the house, and all the work stuff. And we can kind of chit chat about that a little later. But let's get into our movie review for the week. This is our main movie review. Though Ry will chit chat a little bit about some of the other ones he's watched. But let's kind of get going to that.
Malignant. Dun dun dun.
All right, Malignant. Now, this one is the one about the imaginary friend that turns hostile.
In a way, that is the premise. That is the premise.
Okay,
So,
where can I find this film?
this film is actually one of the Warner Brothers dual release, so it's on HBO Max and theaters.
Okay. Okay.
So you can definitely catch it on HBO Max if you have a subscription or you're using somebody's subscription. You know that happens. But if you do, theaters or HBO Max, it is a horror film. It's the latest film from James Wan. And if that name is recognizable to you, is that James Wan is known for creating and building recognizable horror properties. Saw, Insidious, The Conjuring. Everybody's heard of them. They all have their different niches, and he's just a creative, clever director when it comes to horror, and this one is no exception. So the central idea of this movie is that it centers around a girl named Madison, played by Annabelle Wallis, and she begins to have these dreams of horrific murders. Soon she realizes that these dreams are actually happening, and that there is a creature, an entity that is haunting her with these dreams for some apparent reason. And that's where the film's foundation is built in and where it focuses on. So the way I look at this film, it's a tale of two halves, and I've mentioned that before in other films. It crosses many genres, but this one truly is a tale of two halves. So in the beginning, you see this, you get a general like epilogue, so it lays the foundation of the creature, explicit scenes of terror, and a certain inciting incident that involves Madison, which is very key to what everything else that happens later on in the film. So, and then in the bulk of the films, you start to see that she has these visions and watches these grisly murders, and this creature goes by the name of Gabriel, continues to haunt her with these. Paralleling this is this like police investigation trying to figure out who's committing all these murders and why is this one person always tied to it in a way that she's there, she has connections to it somewhat, and so forth. But the first half is very heavy foreshadowing. It's a very cliche horror film. All the cliches that you expect. You have the haunted house feel. You have the creaking noises. You have the auspicious scenes and quick cuts, and looking at the creature and not knowing anything. Everything's just dripping with like plot threads with unexplained motives. Then it gets into the second half.
Uh-oh.
Okay, the second half is where the film actually fills in a lot of that creativeness that James Wan is known for, creating a different niche, a different turn, a different appeasement with the horror films. So even with the first half, you have a very much a generic dialogue, forced exposition, trying to explain every different layer of Madison's connection to Gabriel. Once certain things are revealed and certain twists happen, the second half just turns into a like insane display of creative intent. I would say it's a combination between an action film and Evil Dead, because the craziness that ensues in the second half just turns everything upside down, and it makes everything that seemed unimportant very intertwining in a way that it is going to either make this film for you or break this film for you.
Okay.
I can't say too much because giving away a lot of the stuff in the third half will spoil the brutality and the excitement that you might experience in it.
On this Evil Dead angle, okay, explain how is that? I mean, you're going way back by pulling in Evil Dead.
The way that
now, are we talking classic Evil Dead from the 80s, or are we talking the remake that was in the
classic?
Okay.
Classic. In a way that it does that like horror comedy, but very over the topness, very gruesome, volatile scenes, and just the way that they turn the tropes into a reflection on themselves. So instead of just being mimicry of the genre, what it does, it turns an about face and makes it satirical and insane. And it sets up an intriguing universe of what this creature, Gabriel and Madison, have in store. if there
Okay.
is supposed to be more. And the way James Wan directs films is that it closes a story, but leaves threads for more to come.
Interesting. Okay, so what are you calling this one?
Overall, I think this is a horror film that gives you this is a horror film that redefines what the genre is, and it showcases James Wan's talent in playing with the tropes, playing with everything in the sandbox, but giving something new because of the spin and the twist of how creatures, on how horror and how you can meld in genres together. 3.5 out of 5. I think it'd be worth seeing in the theater. Matinee.
So where does it fall apart?
It doesn't fall apart. Actually, it's the third act that brings everything together. That's everything leading up into it, because it's very standard. It's very standard. It's very basic.
We're talking standard, like paint by numbers.
Paint by numbers when it comes to horror films, because like the first half, you have a lot of very haunted house kind of feels, because it takes place in the house. Like you see these like crazy visions and these unexpected jump scares, and then the characters are nothing more than just there to spew out plot exposition. So
Oh, how very dull.
but the thing is that it's purposeful to be cliche because of that third act, and it's either going to make or break your experience overall.
So if you can get through the first and second act, third act is where it all pays off.
Yeah. So in reverse, and you've heard me say this in reverse, like there would be times where the third act like kills the film. Another horror movie that does that, where it kills it in third act, is a movie called Mama. It came out a few years ago, where the tension and everything was building great, and then they flip the switch and make it something that it's not, and kills the whole vibe. Whereas there's a mystery. The thing that glues this film through all that basic standardness of a horror film in the beginning is the connection between Madison and Gabriel. You want to know what the heck's going on. Why is this creature haunting her? And the twist is either going to make you go, huh, or make you go, what the, you know. But yeah.
Okay.
Either way, you're going to be surprised.
Well, speaking of Evil Dead,
check it out, May. You might be surprised. You might actually like it.
so I was about to say, speaking of Evil Dead, all 3 Evil Dead films by Sam Raimi are all up on HBO Max right now.
Yes, I did see that.
So, I mean, if you want to see some classic comedy horror and, you know, the reason why Ash is Ash, you can check that out since we're getting into October.
Yeah.
Oh, man. October, fall.
Lots of greatness. Lots of greatness coming up in October.
Yeah, the weather started cooling off. It feels great.
Yeah.
I haven't fallen to the pumpkin plague.
I don't like pumpkin anything, so I'll never fall into that plague.
No, right now we're in the whole apple conundrum, right? Because my dad went on a trip the other weekend. He came back, and before he went on the trip, he's like, "So, how many apples do you want me to bring you back?" Because they were going to get apples.
Yeah, it's apple picking season.
Yeah, I asked him for half a bushel.
Okay, that works.
That's what I asked for.
Yeah.
What I got was 2 bushels.
Hey, you know, apple B.
Well, you know, and so over the weekend, my wife was sitting there going through apples, she got through a bushel, poured, cut, jarred, all that fun stuff. We still have a whole nother bushel to go through.
I like apples.
Hey, Sakura, welcome to the party.
Hey.
Welcome to the party.
Welcome, Sakura.
Anyways.
You want me to touch up on the other 2, or are we going to save that as a mystery?
Let's save it as a mystery. Maybe
Okay.
we'll touch on it a little bit for our after show.
All right. After
You got a
show.
lot of other stuff in here for us to talk about. I mean, the next thing, we got some video game stuff. We've got some news pieces, and I curious. I definitely wanted to hear your opinions on this social media trend.
Yeah, I read it, and I have opinions. I have things.
You have
Maybe.
things. You have
Maybe.
things.
Who knows?
All right, let's go into that. Let's talk about that.
All right.
So you found this article and you dropped it in our odds and ends. And if you're subscribers and fans and whatever, we do have a Discord channel, and we have a channel in there that is odds and ends where Ry posts all of these news articles that we kind of chew through to look at.
Interesting ones to knee deep, and what are you talking about? Kind of articles.
So he's got this one that came from NPR.
Yep.
And social media right now with the kids and everything's all in there. I mean, you got your TikTok and your Instagram and all these things. And people try to do all this stuff so they can go viral. And some things are really cool. Some things are a little cringeworthy.
Yep.
Some things are really kind of are fun.
Yep.
We were watching one just before we went live that friend, someone to follow, and I'd like to think of her as a friend. She reposted TikTok video from Ryan Reynolds where he's singing a song. It's one of those ones where he sings it in one tone and then another tone and overlays it, kind of like the row your boat song. But when he gets to the fourth one, then Will Ferrell pops in and starts, and just all the hilarity that ensues. But that's an example of something that can go viral, that is a lot of fun. What this article that Ry finds is that this group of students
Across the country.
Across country, this is a new trend, is they go in and they destroy the school bathrooms and make it a TikTok video just to try to get views. And this is one of those where it crosses that line from to what in the hell are you thinking?
Yeah, it's just with social media, you have your fun trends, your dancing routines, quick reviews or quick theory things, but when they cross a line, like this one, where you're destroying property, not only are you destroying property, you're destroying public property because it's a public school.
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And it's one of those things where, how far is too far, but at the same time, it exemplifies this kind of like, this mentality where you think that nothing's going to happen to you because you believe you're in this like closed world, even though you're posting things public. Because at the same time, it highlights
the anonymity and whatnot, and it's just not there.
Yeah.
Thankfully, TikTok is like, we're taking this stuff down because it's not good. But the fact that this is where we're getting to be the latest thing, and I have to say, this is why I'm glad when we were kids, there was no cell phones, there was no camera phones, there was none of this stuff.
Well, for me, high school-ish, we had the camera phone, but in a sense, I didn't. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
It's just one of those things where it's highlighting rude behavior, and it's instigating, or not instigating, but it's propagating the fact of you're trying to create an image in destroying other people's
so far
work.
States that have been affected by this are Florida, California, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Texas.
Yep. So it's across the board, and it just gives way is that they're just there's just a lack of civility with these kinds of trends, because it's like you don't care as long as you're getting the likes and the views. And at the same time, on the flip side, you're giving free evidence of destroying property that can be used in a court of law. And with all these trends, not even these trends, but things that people will just post online, pictures of stuff and showcasing stuff, it builds into the fact of you act like you can't be used, but anything made public can be used in a court of law. It's evidence. It's visual evidence. You can't hide away from that.
Yeah, especially when your face is on the video or whatnot. I don't get this.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, seriously, everything going on right now, this is what people are doing.
Yep. Like, I'm not going to take away from the fact that you can have fun But there is a line where you cross where you gotta, go up and be like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be destroying public property that can be used against me in a court of law.
Well, I mean, you shouldn't destroy public property anyway. That's just common decency.
Yep.
I mean, that's supposed to be what's decent and everything. And with everything going on with all the various rioting, or that's like, oh, we're protesting. Really? Does protesting involve, like burning down someone's shop just because? Why?
Yep. And I'm all for, right to protest, but there's a line you cross. Why destroying somebody's shop is going to help your cause? It's not. You're hurting that person's livelihood. So.
Well, it's that lack of personal responsibility, and it's that lack of personal respect, and all that other stuff. But that was, in case you're curious, when you're thinking about that and looking at some of these videos, it's like I think as people who consume this, we also have to sit there and be like, look, this is stupid. This should be reported initially, not get to the point it's got hundreds of thousands of views and going viral before somebody takes notice. Like, that's probably not a good idea.
Yeah. But like you mentioned, TikTok is taking these things down immediately. So, Yeah,
well, they were up long enough for somebody to notice, which is, it happens.
Yeah. But, you post something a second, you're going to get a view within 15.
Well, that's also, and the thing is, that goes with a larger trend we're seeing right now of social media trying to do some social responsibility for the content, because there's a lot of things especially with kids viewing the content and all of that stuff for like depression and everything else, because here's this perfect image, and like the body image stuff, or some of the other things where it's just like, where do you draw a line on what's intelligent about what's on social media and what is stuff where it's like you're just not, there's no conversation.
No.
There's no conversation. There's very little conversation. There's very little responsibility for, it's like, can we, try to, and then it's that, okay, where's the responsibility lie for discussing these things? So.
Yep. Like you said, Scuba, we were kids. We did things, but we learned when bad was bad. I know I did.
You learned when bad was bad, and you did a few more creative things, and you know what? There's a reason why a lot of us why we didn't have those things, because like, don't need that. Don't need that noise. Nope. No, I'd rather make videos about something instructive, and personally, that's what I'm gonna do.
Or I'll just do a stupid dance and then get 5 million views. I'll split the profits with you.
I mean, those shuffle videos are pretty sick. I love the red wine one. So, and apparently though that one for apple bottom jeans is back.
With the fur, and calling and looking at her.
It's like, I mean, some of those are pretty cool.
There is a trend I've noticed now recently, which I find, speaking of trends, what I do like sometimes is that what they do, the positive is that it highlights something that might have been forgotten for so long. One of the newest ones is that people are dancing to Brooks and Dunn's Neon Moon. So their popularity is coming back just because of that certain song and people dancing to it. So, and I saw on TikTok Brooks and Dunn, did a thank you to all the fans and everybody, repopularizing their song from like 30 years ago, I think.
Yeah, so. I like those, especially digging up the old songs and playing them, and then it's just like, wow.
Sun goes down from my side of town.
There's a few I watch, and then it's nice seeing that stuff. Alrighty. So moving from there, we got some. So let's talk some game stuff.
Games. You have an interesting game you've been playing.
I have an interesting thing I was doing with a game, and this is something that I'm giving me ideas. But let's talk about the Nintendo GameCube.
Oh yeah, last week they celebrated an anniversary, a big one actually.
I'd say so. It was their first disc console.
Yes.
Which, of course, if you know the history, they were working on the GameCube roughly about the same time they were working on the PlayStation.
Yep.
And the Nintendo 64 and the Nintendo 64, GameCube, and PlayStation. All that stuff kind of working together, and where they were working with Sony to try and start putting their games on disc, and Sony's like, well, hell, we can make our own console. Let's do that. It's PlayStation.
And there we go.
But, you know, Nintendo did another generation of cartridges and then went disc. So then they had the GameCube. 4 controllers, a lot of great party games. Well, that console just had celebrated its 20 years last week.
Yep. September 14th, 2001, the GameCube was released in Japan for the first time. 2 months later, November 18th, it was released in North America of that same year. But like you said, it is one of the consoles that I never owned, but I have played here and there, and is one of those ones that kind of flew under the radar because it had a very crazy controller, but at the same time, it had some interesting games on there that people would cherish. A lot of different games on there.
It was kind of a double down on the N64 controller.
Yeah, that N64 controller was weird, but the GameCube was even weirder. Like I can handle the 64 controller. I could figure out how to play it. The GameCube, I'm just like I don't know. But you know, they did have a slew of solid games on there.
Nintendo's always had really solid games. It's just they've had up until recently they've really had a problem because they're competing with the likes of Microsoft and PlayStation.
Yeah.
And since Nintendo is known for more of their family stuff, then after GameCube we had the Wii, and you know that was phenomenal as a great companion console.
Yes.
And now we have the Switch, which
is another great companion.
Hands down is dominating for that space.
Like it's just imaginable. You know, you have us gamers here. We got our new Xboxes. We'll get a PS5 in the future somehow. But guess what? Nintendo's hanging in there because you know we both have Switches.
Yeah,
both have
Switches.
Yeah.
Both doing that. In fact, I just bought Smash Brothers for my Switch because my daughter's been wanting it. So I got Skittles that Smash Brothers Ultimate.
I need to jump back on there and see some indie games because that catalog of indie games is insane on the Switch. So,
oh yeah, I mean the downside is you have to be online in order to play them, but you know. Each their own, and the new OLED models coming, so that should be interesting because there'll be a price drop on the original Switch as the gear for the OLED one.
Yeah, but you know some highlights from the GameCube. They did have Super Smash Bros. Melee. Pikmin started out on the GameCube. You have Super Mario Sunshine.
My mom loves Pikmin. She would play that for hours.
Yep, and not to mention they did a remake of Metal Gear Solid called Twin Snakes. They had Rogue Squadron 2, and also at the time, before it was released over on the other system, it exclusively had Resident Evil 4.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Resident Evil 4 wasn't exclusive on the Nintendo GameCube, but I played it on the PS2, and it's one of my favorite games of all time.
That one's pretty solid every time they re-release it, but there's also the whole Mario Party thing.
Oh yeah, Mario Party.
And, you know, I remember plenty of times playing the Mario Party.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So that was solid.
Yeah. A very solid system. Another kind of under the radar. If you had it, you know what I'm talking about. But if you didn't, oh well. Find a way to play the games, I guess.
So speaking of that, and talking about other consoles and stuff, Microsoft-wise, you've been playing some more Forza. You getting...
Forza Horizon 4, like I'm just knee deep in what I'm doing. I'm just racing all the races and building up my catalog of cars and just modding. And I just love the fact that, you know, you can just go on there. What I've been doing actually is going around finding the secret hidden cars. So what happens is you're driving, you're racing, but one of your peoples that like call into you, they'll always tell you, hey, we heard about this barn that has this classic car, this, you know, interesting car. And then there's, I think like 18 or 19 of them that you have to find on the map. But the thing is that if you played Forza Horizon 4, they have seasonal change. So it goes through all the 4 seasons. And certain seasons you're only able to get certain cars. Like there was one that I had to wait for winter because the lake had to freeze so you could get to the island to where this hidden car was.
Oh.
So cool. That was pretty cool. I think that was what car was that? It was like an old school Mini. I think it was. But yeah,
see, I'm waiting for 5. I can't. I'm ready to drop into 5 when 5 launches later this year.
I am prepping up for 5, and I think it's going to be a good complementary because Horizon 4 takes place in England, the UK, where 5 takes place in Mexico. So it's going to be a mixture of different terrains. So it would be a good complement. Plus, they're going into what I've read about 5 is that they have like hundreds and hundreds of cars, and that's only the tip of the iceberg. Like, they haven't released all the cars that are going to be in that game. And it's just, I think it's a great complement to the traditional racing simulation, because Horizon, it's an open world, and you still mod your cars depending on what kind of race you're racing in: dirt, street, regular race, special events. But just the variety and the way that you can play with people is great. You can just randomly just ride, and then somebody's racing to you because it stays connected online. You can just check them out or say, hey, I want to race you, and then boom, there goes a race. Or you can actually, what I found out is in 4, which they'll do in 5 as well, people set up their own kind of different events, and you can race in those events.
Yeah, they definitely worked on that for 5 with your own, make your own tracks, and some of them are just wild looking.
Yeah, there was one I did where the dude put you in an old school Dodge Dart, souped up Dodge Dart, and you had to hit this ramp that was super high, but you had to hit the mark perfectly within like 2 minutes.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah, pretty fun.
All right.
You've been messing around in the Viking world.
Yes. So my friends have been playing this game called Valheim, which was released earlier this year as an early release. It's kind of an open world survival game.
Yep.
It's got a very Skyrim vibe to it. As you're basically a Viking who has died, and you're in purgatory working your way to go to Valhalla. So you have to gather resources and defeat this series of creatures in order to kind of progress to the point you can go to Valhalla. My friends were playing this, and conversation last week in that chat was talking about, it'd be cool to set up like our own game server to play on, and some conversation with that, and it sparked an idea with me, because I have a network storage server that I set up, that Saladin helped me set up, that's using the Unraid operating system, which is really cool. I've got some space on there, and I was like, you know what, that's got a pretty stable internet connection, excuse me. So I was like, and this is something I wasn't sure. So yeah, I offered to set up the server. So took me a couple hours to get it up and going, but then now we have a live server for Valheim that we're playing, and it got me pondering, because I have plenty of room on the server, and thinking about how we have this community of gamers and geeks and all these things. Maybe doing something for Patreon, or just in general, setting up a couple of game servers for the studio community to get together and kind of hang out and play together. It's a thought. Not sure if it's a popular thought, or not sure if I'm just like so many other things, seem to be late to the table, late to the party.
Well, I wouldn't say too late, because the game only released over the summer.
Well, that, and then maybe doing something like, you can never go wrong with a Minecraft server.
Nope.
Some of those things. And so it was a thought. I may put a poll out through our Discord to see if anybody would be interested, and maybe I can set up a couple of game servers that we can play on as a group. But that just means I also have to make sure I'm making appearances in a bunch of other places too. So
more and more to jump into.
But yeah, speaking of that, we are going through a lot of renovation on the Discord server, trying to modernize it and make things a little more intuitive, a little more segmented out for those who want to kind of pick their flavor for what they want to follow on the studio stuff. So we'll see how that plays out. Still working through quite a bit of it. Got our first phase where a new welcome screen and stuff. But yeah, Valheim, I played that for a few hours. I had a lot of fun with it. I mean, you got to stealth, you got to resource gather, you got to build a hut, build a workbench, try to set it up to where if you put a campfire and a cooking station inside your house, you don't get smoke inhalation. That was a problem. Small problem.
You don't want to just choke yourself
But the game physics are really cool in that sense because I built this big house, right? And I set up the little thing in the corner and the smoke would just fill up the room. And it's like, okay, so now I got to like take out a segment of the roof and you see the smoke kind of go up. So that's where it's got some really interesting physics. And of course, with the modeling and the polygons, it has a very Skyrim type vibe to it. So that really kind of got my attention.
Oh yeah, I'm staring at it, thinking about getting it, but we'll see.
Yeah, right now, last I checked on Steam, it was on sale for $15.99.
It's back up to 20.
Oh, the sale's over?
Yep.
So it's a $20 game. Put it on your wish list. I mean, I thought it was a lot of fun. And judging from my friends who've been on that constantly,
$20 in my wallet, so maybe.
Oh boy. Alrighty. So, let's see. Speaking of Minecraft servers, there was an article you found in our odds and ends.
Yes.
About this was PC Game Magazine .com. Apparently, some intrepid Minecrafters had put together the planet of Tatooine and the planet of Coruscant.
Yes.
In Minecraft, and they are mind-blowing.
Yes. So they went ahead, and it took them a year,
a year
to build it, and the map, as reported on PCGames.com, the map was created with a combination of World Painter and World Edit, and they posted it up on their YouTube to give you a showcase of how detailed the map is. You can download the map if you're running Minecraft 1.12.2, or simply just take a closer look at the video that they post on the PC Games website. And it's stupendous.
If I do a Minecraft server for the studio, I'd probably download that planet and drop it in there.
Yep. And they say that the Tatooine features everything from the whole of Mos Eisley to the most obscure outlying homesteads, and the massive city of Coruscant, simply features everything from the Senate buildings to Dex diners and uncountable little buildings here and there. And they are planning to keep building out the galaxy. That's what they said.
Interesting.
So, that is the goal.
Alrighty. It sounds pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think we a couple other quick things for our odds and ends. We have a lost film discovered. What's up with that, Ry?
Lost film discovered. This is reported over on IGN. There is a film that supposedly was destroyed by the Nazis and thought was lost forever, but it was rediscovered. The film called Europa, which is an anti-fascist film that was seized by the Nazis and was actually discovered recently in Bonn Terschurve, one of Germany's national archives.
Wow.
Yep. And Europa was created in 1931 by the Warsaw Surrealist husband and wife director duo Stefan and Franziska Themerson.
Interesting.
Yep. And they plan to put it up to watch soon. So it's going to premiere at one of the film festivals over in Europe. So,
alrighty.
So that's interesting. This
Not
is
everything destroyed is lost.
Yeah, and it's just art preservation, so you get to see a perspective from that
1930s, 1940s film. Nice. And I think our last one we'll close out with is apparently Ikea now has a gaming collection.
Yes, they have a gaming collection of furniture.
Yeah, okay.
So, yep. So to capitalize on the gaming world, they decided to release a collection, as reported on Kotaku. They have a new line of chairs, desks, and accessories coming next month that will be aimed towards gamers and gaming.
Okay, so what do you think of it? I took a look at the pictures in the collection on the Kotaku stuff, and I already got the chair. And you know, I'm already modifying the chair.
Yeah, the chair, like everything else is okay, but the chair is where it's at. Like, you can have everything else. You got to have a good gaming chair. And if I like going to Ikea, I purchase stuff from there, and they, hey, if they're gonna give me a gaming chair and it's pretty decent, I might have to go get one.
But yeah, I saw one thing is like that'll board with their like strap add-ons to strap your controller to a wall so you don't lose it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. They got a versatile desk, and everything else in between. So it gets released next month. So looks like sometime in August.
Guess we'll have to see how that goes. But it looks like that wraps us up for tonight. Thank you again, everyone, for watching us. If you watched all the way to the end of this video, you're awesome and amazing human beings. Thank you. Please remember to hit that bell, hit that subscribe, and hit the like button if you enjoyed this content. And feel free to comment below. Tell us what you thought about some of our topics, suggestions for some stuff to talk about in the future. What are your favorite elements of the Beyond the Witchlight book? I'll have a physical copy here, and we could talk a little bit more about that next week as some more of that planning. A shout out again, thank you to Sirenscape for the background music and soundboards. Y'all are awesome and amazing. Go check them out at sirenscape.com. Check out their online player and their library of toys. Thank you to the mods in the chat, everyone else who's in the chat, and thank you to Ry for spending another Tuesday night with me.
You're welcome.
All right, and if you are a Patreon supporter, go check out Patreon or go over to the subscriber chat in our Discord. I will be dropping the link for the after show, which we'll transition over to in just a moment. And with that, wish you all a wonderful week, wonderful weekend. Stay safe, love each other, do those things, and we will see you on our next stream. Good night, everybody.
Peace.